something you can't fix.
If you can't fix what's broken, you'll go insane.
It's Jay and Adam. It's Preview.
It's Preview's Fix It with Adam and Jay.
Hey, peaches! Welcome to Fix It, where friends don't let friends fix pop culture alone.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Jay. And you're our listener.
Well, hey there, listeners.
Ho there, listeners.
Snap hiss, listeners.
Snap hiss?
Well, I don't.
Is that what
That's the name of the. Well, I mean, that's the name of the sound effect.
the snap
The
hiss?
snap. It's in all the EU books. When a lightsaber is ignited, they use snap hiss because it's a step.
That does not indicate a lightsaber to me.
Do a lightsaber ignition.
No, here's the thing.
Ignition, not when it's on.
No, there's no. Okay, I understand conceptually that it is a very difficult sound to describe.
It is.
In a book.
Sure.
But if I'm reading and I see snap hiss for a lightsaber,
We're snap hiss.
no, like snap hiss means be like, oh man, are we about to fight like a West Side Story gang of snakes? Like that doesn't. But also, that just to me does not indicate like the coolness of a lightsaber sound.
That's true.
I don't know. Anyways, welcome to Fix It. I'm Jay. That's Adam. You may know us from the wildly popular, the fully operational YouTube reaction channel Previewed, where Adam and I react, review, and riff to all sorts of nerd culture. We're currently working our way through the Secret Invasion right now and getting ready to go through The Witcher for Patreon, which should be very,
Witcher
very fun.
started to drop today, and we will get to that sometime next week.
We're hustling, baby.
Moving and
grooving. But this is our show, Fix It, where every week Adam and I take a piece of pop culture that maybe missed the mark, maybe didn't quite get there, maybe didn't have quite enough midichlorians
Oh man.
to get there, and we fix it. And this week, it is our 50th episode of Fix It.
50 episodes.
We have done 50 of these.
We didn't miss a week.
We didn't miss a week.
We had an episode out every week for 50 weeks. Jay,
It's crazy.
that's
almost
crazy.
We didn't miss a week for an entire year.
Yes.
And we still have some backlog episodes.
We do.
Mostly because I tried to sneak one in this week. But I was like, it's our 50th episode. I can't.
No.
I can't. I got a kid at home. I'm trying my best. You know, that's one thing that frustrated me about last week's episode. As much as I appreciated the bit that we didn't mention the kid, it bothered me that we didn't. I was walking home and I was like, it's a big deal in my life that I have a kid. I was like, I appreciate the bit, but that's not the bit.
We commit to the bit. And the first bit back was nothing crazy happened last month. And now we're past that bit. And now we can go full bit
I
on
wasn't
your
sure
child.
if we were going to continue that bit.
No, Jason,
because I
you
kind of
sing.
felt bad. I was like, I just wanted to talk about how cool my baby is.
I know.
I got cool baby. He wears sunglasses and does kick flips.
Does he really?
Yeah, man. He's
wow.
cool as hell.
That's awesome.
He's like, yeah, man.
That's radical.
Yeah, he's like DJ Scat Cat. He's the coolest.
So he's already walking?
Yeah, man. And dancing and
two step forwards
dancing
and then
with
one
Paula
step back.
Abdul.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Wait, we lost the sauce again. So for our 50th episode, thank you for being along with the ride for 50 episodes. We are fixing our first Star Wars movie.
Mainline Star Wars movie. We are fixing
Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Now, we will get to the sequels. You're like, well, guys, what about the sequels? Those need fixing way more than the prequels. And you are correct. But we have a special plan for the sequels.
We're still navigating the situation where Adam can talk about the sequels in a way that doesn't have him just yelling at the audience.
You know, the opening scene of Secret Invasion, or that episode of Always Sunny with Charlie in front of this conspiracy board?
Yeah.
That would be, I would wheel that out, and this is like, guys, no, you don't understand. It's all a conspiracy. This is, they're just trying to destroy Luke Skywalker.
Hi, and I'm here to take the edge off. Hey, what's up, everybody?
So, we're working through it. We're still working through it.
Yeah, I feel like fixing the sequels is like if we were to go bowling, like you're like trying to bowl a 300 and I'm like over here like we got bumpers. We're having fun. We're fixing Star Wars Episode 1. It is the movie that actually for a long time made me fall out of love with Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
Because the long or the short of it, this movie has a lot of issues.
Yes, it does.
Do you know what my biggest issue with this movie is? It's kind of dorky. It's kind of a dorky movie.
I think
I felt like a dork watching it as a kid.
and I will tell you why that is. George Lucas, when he was crafting the prequels, one, he, of course, didn't have anyone telling him no. But two, he had a false mindset that Star Wars, at its core, is for kids. And that is not true.
Freddie Prinze Jr. is going to have words with you, my friend. Have you seen that interview?
Yes,
Yeah.
I have. He's also wrong. Star Wars.
The man has shook Dave Filoni's hand. I
know.
don't think he can be wrong. I'm not
But
sure.
he is. In this case, he is wrong. Star Wars should be for everyone. That something that kids can watch.
Yes. It should be for everyone, which includes kids.
Yes. The original trilogy. Would you say the original trilogy was for kids? It was kid friendly. Kids could watch it
Yeah.
and not be scarred by it, but it was handled in a much with a more deft hand. I was like, no, we're taking this seriously.
Yeah.
Episode 1 was not serious. There are multiple points in the movie like that. This scene these characters, all of this is specifically for kids under 10. And the vast majority
of the voice acting is kind of racist.
Yes. But the vast majority of your audience is an adult or, older teenagers that grew up with this in the 80s. And like, yes, hooking the next generation, absolutely. But like, you can do that by still taking the content seriously.
That's
true.
And
they truly didn't. And it ruined lots of people's lives.
I was like a dyed-in-the-cloth Star Wars fan reading the novels, getting all still my favorite Star Wars books of all times are the expanded ship catalog and the expanded planet catalog. Like, those are the best. Like, I would just read those.
I really thought he was going to say universe there
writ
for a second.
large.
No, he did not.
What's up?
The expanded universe. You did not say. You said you went straight to the ships and the planets.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you would get aspects of the story from that, and then
Sure.
I would pick what stories I wanted to read for what was interesting from those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like so into it, and then I saw episode 1, and we were walking out. My mom worked her butt off to get us day 1 tickets.
Oh wow!
Saw it the first day. It was a big deal. My mom was really proud, and she came with us, and we saw it, and we were walking out, and my mom was like, "What'd you think?" And I was like, "Hey, I don't want to seem like I'm being." Like, I really appreciate you getting us tickets, but, like, I didn't really like that. My mom was like, yeah, that was not very good. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if I like this anymore. And I was like, wow, that's really sad.
Yep.
That's really a bummer.
My moment was 2 weeks after the Attack of the Clones.
Oh.
Because I didn't really like the first one. I was like, but okay. But okay. Okay, okay, it's fine. I know, it's fine. Attack of the Clones comes out. Get to the end of Attack of the Clones, and 2 weeks after, I was an Attack of the Clones apologist. It's like, no, but this, but also this, but that was pretty cool, right? And then it just finally said it like, yeah, this isn't good. Yeah, this isn't good. Oh, man.
Beans.
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 And that's why, because when the Clone Wars cartoon comes out, somewhere in and around, somewhere between there and like, Jenny Kartatovsky's Clone Wars cartoon right before episode 3 comes out.
Maybe some of the best Star Wars stuff I've ever made.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the movie comes out, and I was like, wow, that wasn't good.
Yeah, and I love how that's where we figure out where General Grievous is like, that's like, guys.
Yep, that's where his origin was.
It's cool watching Mace Windu crush him like that, but however, you're not even going to mention it at all.
I know.
You're going to let the Samurai Jack guy make a big character choice. And
You know what that was a precursor of? Eventually, farther into the future, on Fortnite, is the announcement that Palpatine is back.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, they have not really nailed it. a lot of times.
No, they have
Anyways,
not. Anyways,
we have a lot of Star Wars to talk about.
We will get there.
But before we hop into Star Wars proper and like really get into fixing this bad boy, this is we come to our my favorite segment of the show because it's just about gibbing and gabbing.
Is that what we do here?
I
Jake?
love to gib and gab. I'm a well-known gibber and or gabber.
Oh, it's true. Depending on what mood you're in.
Indeed. We come to our point of the show where Adam and I kind of just check in with each other in a segment we call Roll for Convo. We take a 20-sided die, which I actually have a physical 20-sided die. Get off my beans about it. I had it on my phone for a while, and people would not give me not.
They were living on your beans, man.
They were living on my beans.
Giving you the business.
Excuse me. I have not leased and or rented mine beans. See yourself away, trespassers. Never trespass on my legumes again. 'Tis I, the Bean King. All right. Our producer Brian. Nope. I'm just gonna keep a ribbon and a rolling.
All right. Gibbon and gabbing.
Yep. Gibbon, gabbing, ribbon and rolling. You know what I'm saying? Our producer Brian has come up with 20 different conversation starters and or questions.
Real this time.
For real this time. Not all the same question about Indiana Jones. I'm still mad about that. And I'm gonna roll this dice and we're gonna see what we have to talk about. And I rolled a 14.
14.
Yeah.
What are your 3 desert island albums?
Desert Island albums, like music albums?
Yes. Assuming you have a machine in which to play them on and have the power source to be able to run it.
I mean, I can't. Yeah, I'll pick the ones that you can actually eat. Yeah, if that's the case. Or like, what was the sharpest CD that I can,
Sure. Fashion
I can
into
be
a spear.
befix an axe or a knife of some kind. Oh yeah, well, AC/DC Back in Black when they re-released on CD, it's the sharpest album they've ever come out with. Yeah, a lot of lawsuits. But if you need to,
If you're trapped on an island,
make
man.
a spear to catch a fish, you can do it. Okay. 3. I know this one's gonna be very difficult for you, so I'm just gonna go first.
Thanks.
Because they only made one Devil May Cry soundtrack. Devil May Cry 5 soundtrack.
Shut up.
Okay. For me personally,
Sure.
first album for me personally, it is 1997's Ben Folds 5, whatever I'm in. That album is truly incredible.
Okay.
It will get you there.
Mhm.
It is not the best album of all time, but for me personally, if I'm trying to keep my own morale up on a
Sure.
desert island, like that is like high school, like snapshot to a T. That's easy. You got highs, you got lows on that one. You can really kind of meet all of my musical needs with that personally, just from a morale perspective. Second album. The second album is the Beatles' Abbey Road.
Okay.
Just because that is my favorite Beatles album, and I would be hard pressed to not pick a Beatles album to have with me. And then third album. You know what? I'm gonna be. This is a wild choice.
Sure.
This is a wild choice. Just because I feel like it will keep. I'm gonna need to be able to keep an upbeat nature and I'm keeping. Okay, so it's Ben Folds, whatever I'm in from 1997. Hopefully the remaster that has Air on it, and then we have the full expanded Abbey Road, because the B-side of Abbey Road I think is the best thing the Beatles has ever made.
Okay.
And I would love for people to fight me on that.
Oh,
the
wow,
only
okay.
other Beatles album I would consider would be Revolver, but that's about as far as it goes. I am taking for my third album, because hit for hit, this might be the best band of all time. The most prolific. They've had the most hits. I am taking a greatest hits album of ABBA. I am taking the ABBA's greatest hits.
Wow.
I am taking that on the island with me. You know why? Because you never get sick of it.
It's true.
Ever.
That was really good.
Ever. It's like the kind of thing where I'm going to be playing this over and over and over and over again. Yes. I'm playing that over and over and over again.
Cool.
I don't think this is. I'm not like necessarily like. I'm not gonna like pit fight my picks against other people because I don't know if it's the strongest of lists. But I know that.
Sure.
I know these albums would keep me alive.
That's nice.
Yeah. What about you?
You already named one of them. The Devil May Cry 5 soundtrack.
Are you serious?
Absolutely. Daddy needs music to dominate this island. And reap all of the resources.
You actually picked it. Okay. I was doing a bit. All right.
You nailed it. I was going to go chop down a tree. I was going to go kill all these boars. Bury the light. Yeah, hell yeah, man. I'm killing Boris to bury the light. Let's
you
do
have
it.
No idea the amount of times that I come over here and Adam is like getting set up in the studio, and I just see on his screen just like a YouTube video of Devil May Cry soundtrack just playing. Like, oh, what you done? Just leveling up in here?
Damn right.
Yeah, man, grinding it out.
Absolutely.
Just grinding XP, baby.
Dave Matthews Band Crash.
The full album.
The full album.
That's the one that has.
No, that is the one with two-step. I will give you the list right here.
Oh yeah, what's
Crash
the,
Into Me, two-step.
Yeah, that's what I Crash Into Me.
Yeah, Crash Into Me, two-step. No, you're this space between is what the one you're just saying.
Oh, I did.
Say Goodbye, Too Much. 41, So Much to Say. These are the ones that I really like. Trippin' Billies. So those are like the early Dave Matthews. Those are really good.
Does that have ants marching on it?
No, that was the previous one.
Shoot.
Under the Table and Dreaming.
Bow, bow, bow.
But I would much rather listen to Crash Into Me or two.
Up in the morning.
Or maybe like Dave and Tim at at Radio City.
Oh
That's
yeah,
also
okay.
a good one too.
Okay.
And
Third album.
Britney's Greatest Hits.
Britney
Dude.
Spears.
Yeah.
Spears.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Those songs. Here they go. Pop
they
sensation.
Hit, but does she have enough hits?
That's why I picked the greatest hits.
I know.
Oh yes, she does. And there's something infectious of those songs. Are just like, damn, man.
Yeah, they're really catchy.
They're really freaking catchy.
Yeah, they're really catchy.
And keep your spirits up.
What's your favorite Britney Spears song?
Crazy.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Mine's Toxic.
Toxic is really good.
Toxic's really good. And that music video is ingrained in my memory for the rest of my life.
Threesome is good. Three? No, 3. It's just called 3. But it's about a threesome.
Okay.
But it's very vague. But like, oh no, you're talking.
I don't know if that's on the. I don't know that song. I don't know if that's on Greatest Hits.
Right? It is.
It is.
Yeah,
You just double checked, didn't you?
It's a bop.
It's a bop.
Yeah. There's
Okay.
a lot. She's got a lot of bops.
I don't know. I think my love for Britney finally just like kind of edged towards Katy Perry, and it's kind of living there right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I get you. I thought about Katy Perry for a hot sec.
Yeah,
Or Robin.
Oh, okay. I heard a Britney song recently, and just like kind of like out of just cause something somehow just in the background of something, it's like, damn, man, yeah,
Yeah.
Britney Spears, yo, these songs bop,
Yeah.
yeah, woo, woo,
Woo!
it's a good song, man.
She's free.
She is free. Good for Britney. Do
Yeah,
her
but
thing.
yeah, her behavior on social media is getting a little buck wild to a
Oh,
point
is it?
where I'm
I don't
like,
even.
I don't know.
Oh no!
What have we done?
Oh no!
That's not the kind of show we're doing right now. That's not what we're doing here.
So surprise! I actually had a couple music choices. So there
Look
you go.
at you.
Yeah,
Look
no,
at you.
me. Granted, you didn't
Yeah.
call one of them.
Do you listen? Like, how often do you do you listen to music?
When I'm working out.
That's
or
it.
when I am doing when I'm editing and I don't need to listen to our dialogue.
Okay.
Like, so making like thumbnails and stuff like that. We're just
Yeah.
sort of, like just visual stuff. Yeah, I'm listening to stuff.
I have music on like all the time.
I can't because I will listen. And anytime there's lyrics, I can't write when there are lyrics because the words get jumbled in my head.
Oh, interesting.
Because I'm trying to come up with my own words and I'm hearing words and I was like oh no, I know
Yeah.
whose words are whose.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, the amount of time I'm writing something and then all of a sudden I've written lyrics, like, that's not crap. What did I want to write? Delete. It's frustrating.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Yeah.
Star Wars: The Phantom Menace.
Star Wars. Phantom Menace.
Someone brought up. I can't remember who it was. Someone brought up a very good point in the Discord the Fix It movie watch along
Oh, yes.
on the preview Discord.
Yes.
We watched this movie along, and actually, considering I forgot to post about it, a lot of people showed up.
Makes sense.
And people were like, "Star Wars, hell yeah!"
It's Star Wars.
But someone brought up a very interesting point about that I think actually brings at least peace to my mind about the concept of midichlorians that gets brought up in this movie.
Okay.
And midichlorians being like the thing that controls the force in the body.
Or the agent which allows people have
they
the
brought up
Force.
the point that midichlorians are not what cause the force.
Mhm.
They are biomarkers in a living organism that the force has moved through it.
Okay.
So they are indicators, they are biological indicators that you can use the force,
Mhm.
but they are not necessarily the force.
Sure. That makes
That makes sense to me.
like a neutrino or something.
Yeah,
Like
like
some
let's
other
keep
type
it
of like
let's
yeah,
keep it like like
particle or
can you see the amount of midichlorians in the body? Like the amount of force that this like being can control is staggering.
Mhm.
Like it's not necessarily the thing that is the thing.
Sure, but like we don't need power scaling like that
I agree.
because they gave like, well, he's got more midichlorians than Yoda. I'm like, that's not okay.
In
'Cause-
your fix,
Yes.
are you keeping like the prophecy?
No.
Neither am I. You know why? Because they don't really reference it after this movie that much at all. They really don't talk about it.
Just in episode 3.
They really bring it up. but
Yes, I wanted to bring the balance of the blah blah blah.
They mention it. They mention it once or twice in episode 1, and then they mention it once or twice in the third one. And it's like, if there is a overarching prophecy about someone, like it should be the main vein of this entire franchise, and they barely talk about it.
Well, herein lies the question, Jay. Would you want to first talk about the overarching problems of the whole trilogy that start from here, or do you want to talk about the movie itself and how that branches into fundamental problems with this trilogy?
I don't know.
Because I broke it down before I did my fix. I was like, hey, here's what George
Sorry.
was going for. And this is what makes the prequels different than the sequels. The prequels, George had a good story at the core of it.
Yes.
He had a good story. It just, man, he told it
The
really
execution was
poorly. It
very
was just,
poor.
it was very bad. The sequels had no story,
Yeah.
no point of view. They had nothing they were trying to
The
get across.
execution was fun though.
But the execution was, man, they directed all the hell of it. It was like, it was great, man. They did
Some of those shots are
some of those shots
awesome.
are very amazing. Like they did, it was very competently made. It was competently told. Just it was
I
were telling a bad
didn't
story.
I didn't enjoy those movies, but I didn't feel like a dork for watching them. I was like, oh, this is like they're taking this seriously.
Yeah.
They don't know what the hell they're doing, but they're taking it seriously.
They're trying to offend me seriously.
Yes.
That's what. Yeah. But this one, yeah, I felt like, oh, this movie isn't for. These are for kids.
Beat-
but I want to be. But I want
Beat
to be
for
here
beat,
too.
the rise of the rise of Darth Vader as a trilogy is like very good. Like from like the beat of the dawn of the Empire as we
Yes.
know it. These movies are pretty structurally sound.
Sure.
They just go about it in such a way that it's, if anything, like this movie's contains so much lore and so much information that it shouldn't be this confusing. You know what I'm saying?
Let's start there then.
He's trying to educate us about this world, but the more he tries to educate us, the more confused we
Yes, because once again, of course, Filoni has done a much better, masterful job of like, here's what George was trying to say.
get. Yes.
The story at the core of this is the Republic has been around so long that it has become corrupt.
Yeah.
And through a lot of people just being in power too long or dynastic families being in the Senate, things have just bogged down. It's slowing down. There is definitely a higher class and lower class, and things are just too stagnant. There's corruption all over the place in politics, and the system is no longer working for a lot of beings in the galaxy. Which means that Sidious is just like, well, this is a great opportunity to just slide right in, fracture this whole thing, and take over. And he's right. It was a good opportunity, and he freaking nailed it.
Yeah.
But like, how do you convey that complex idea of society's gotten kind of the politics have gotten corrupt because the system's been in place for far too long and change doesn't happen fast enough, and a Sith Lord taking over. Plus, all the Jedi being more police for the Senate instead of like, you know, people who do good for everyone, like chaotic neutral or no neutral good instead of like lawful good.
Okay.
Because they're more trapped in the, well, we got to help the Senate out. Like, yeah, you sure, but like at the same time, like, what about the people you're supposed to be serving?
Yeah.
The galaxy at large. You shouldn't be this close to the government. You can help the government when their cause is right, but like at the same time, like basically what I'm saying is Dooku was right. Dooku was right.
Yeah.
And we didn't, because the crawl starts as like, there's a blockade at Naboo.
Yeah.
What for who? Because of a trade negotiation.
Yeah. When they were like,
what?
Yeah. What does that even mean?
What does that even mean? The last thing started with ships shooting at each other and in an amazing battle sequence. There's a blockade of a planet we've never heard of by a force we've never heard of over. You can't describe what trade negotiations in the opening crawl. That's boring and dumb and slow.
Yeah.
That you need a scene to do that, and you didn't do that at all. At any point in this movie, explain what the problem with the Republic was, at all, at all. Where was the corruption?
Well, if any, it would also, to me, it's and it's one thing I go into my fix is like they're like, man, they like got rid of the Jedi, and I'm like, yeah, but like they kind of needed to go. Like, it's the kind of thing where it's like and that's one thing that I think like Ahsoka and Filoni has really tried to like kind of ruminate on is that like, yeah, the old ways of the Jedi, like they had turned themselves into cops, and that's not what they're here to do.
Nope.
Like the Jedi they're supposed to be monks, not cops.
Nope.
And they just be instead of being its own body that would like weigh in on things and offer wisdom, they became a part of the institution in a way that completely like nullified them and basically just turned them into a bat.
Yep.
And they're just
big
like
glowing bat.
a big glowing bat, a snap hiss of a bat. And I think that's the Phantom Menace to me. It gets away from what I really what I really like about Star Wars and what got to me in the first place. I just like, and that's why like in our reaction to Mando season 2, like I just like everyone sees themselves in Luke.
Yes.
Like everyone loves Luke because they're like, yeah, like they know him and they understand him.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel like you have a personal relationship with these characters, and that's kind of what makes Star Wars land properly.
Right.
Like Princess Leia is one of the most compelling. Everyone's like, "Oh, who's the best Disney princess?" I was like, "It's Leia." I was like, if Disney owns Star Wars now, it's Leia. She's one of the most compelling characters in all of sci-fi.
Yep.
Like you get to know and love these characters, and in these movies, just don't get you to a point where you feel like you're connected to anyone.
Well, Luke was the hero of 1,000 Faces.
Yeah.
And because
1,000%.
Because Luke was 18 when his journey starts.
Yeah.
Who do we have in the first movie? And granted, I mean, Red Letter Media became famous because of their sequel or their prequel breakdowns on the Plinkett breakdowns, and have covered this, way more better than we could ever. But like, we have Anakin who's 8. Obi-Wan who's in his 20s, and Qui-Gon, but like none of those characters are like, wow, what's going on? I'm going on an adventure. Like, no, these are all characters that have been pretty much just like doing their thing, and now we're catching up to them in their story. None of their story starts, because even Anakin's story doesn't start until like episode 2.
Yeah,
he's just kind of vestigial in this, and things happen around him, which are all dumb and stupid and could have been explained better if he was older. But that's later. But just like, why did if Anakin was older, this makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
But he's 8 because the kids needed an avatar in the movie.
Yeah.
As an 8-year-old.
And it doesn't, and it makes him falling in love with Padme eventually like super weird. Super weird. It's super weird.
I don't think George Lucas knows how to write relationships.
I don't think
Like relate like
I think he could have stopped before relationships.
True enough. George Lucas is a good idea,
He
man.
knows how to create a story.
Yes.
He does not know how to write dialogue.
If this trilogy
At
has
all.
proven anything,
Like
is that my love for you, Jay, is like a
and
river
George,
that's always
no
flowing.
one would have been mad at you if you brought in someone to write the dialogue.
No
one would
Not
have been
at all.
mad. It's like, and no one would have been like, well, George is slipping. He didn't write that. I'm like, you didn't write Empire, dude. I mean, like.
So let's talk about the movie itself.
Okay.
All right. So I wrote some notes down. I wrote a bunch of notes down as I was going, right? But like the main thing is, at least at the beginning, right? The crawl's bad, doesn't explain anything.
No.
And the opening situation is
No.
complicated and never really truly explained.
No. And the Trade Federation have the most racist voices. Like, it to the point where Kimberly had never seen. It was her first watch through. When
Oh,
we watched
really?
it the other day, and she was watching Jar Jar, and she was like, "Are there like?" She was like, "Did he just make a minstrelsy joke, and I just missed it? Like, this feels really gross." And I was like, "Yeah, it's not awesome. Yeah, it's not awesome."
It's not awesome.
And she was like, "Yeah." She was like, "It's not technically racist, but it's racist." And I was like, "Yeah, it's not great."
It doesn't hit good.
No.
Palpatine. Here's the thing, and the other thing is that this movie requires you to have some knowledge of the original trilogy.
Yes.
Now, that's also a mistake.
Sure.
Because they have Palpatine showing up in the first 3 minutes via a hologram, talking to the Trade Federation. Like, oh, that's Palpatine.
Yeah.
Because that is shorthand for, oh, there's Palpatine. Why are we saying Palpatine so early? Oh, he's bad. Oh, so this is bad.
Yeah.
We don't understand what is going on here,
But wait.
but it's bad.
Did you say steak?
I did say steak. A steak we don't understand, Jay.
Yeah.
Because we just don't get it.
Yeah, we just don't fundamentally.
We don't
get it.
fundamentally get it. It's like, oh, we're killing Jedi. Oh, okay. Good luck with that, clearly.
Yeah.
Oh, Jedi use a cool power that we've never seen on screen before. Only once ever.
Go Jedi breath.
Oh, and to speed.
Yeah.
Like a seminal power in the games. I mean, especially the Jedi Academy games. Like
Yeah.
you can just speed up and boop 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 boop, and then that turned into in the more recent batch of games, like we can slow down time, which is just like, oh, I'm just kind of speeding up, which is basically the
Sure.
same thing.
Yeah.
The Jedi being able to do things real fast.
Yeah.
They've only done it once, and of course at the end of the movie, it's just like, why didn't he just use the thing he did? That's set up and payoff.
Yeah.
But like, of course, everyone's like,
It's almost as the Force sometimes just becomes a catch-all.
almost as if.
And people are like, well, it's got to be magic. Midichlorians explain it. I'm like, honestly, I mean, like, at a certain point, though, the way we use it is kind of a deus ex machina out of a lot of problems because just because it's easy.
Yep.
It gets frustrating to me.
So there's a lot of stuff that's just kind of given to us in the beginning of the movie that like, hey, you should know this stuff because of the original trilogy.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe, no, you could have doled out this information better as if you were thinking that maybe no one's ever watched Star Wars before. Even though we know we have.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. But you could write the story in a way of like doing reveals.
Yeah.
And this movie didn't really give us... Darth Maul is revealed in this movie in a hologram.
Yeah.
That's lame.
Yeah.
He's like the active big bad in this movie, and he's just like,
And he's barely in it.
and he's barely
And
in
he's
it,
barely
and
in the
like,
movie.
I'm a so mean. In a hologram.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
'Cause
That
not-
ain't Menace.
Yeah. And in a movie like this, we need to be able to connect with our heroes, but we also need to, there needs to be connection with our villains as well.
Yes.
Because, Darth Vader entered that doorway and entered all of our nightmares as children.
Yes.
I still... Sometimes you spend too much time, looking at Darth Vader's helmet, looking at his whole steez, and
Sure.
he kind of looks dorky.
A little bit.
You know, if you, really pay if you
Yeah.
spend enough time looking at it, you're like, it's kind of dumb.
Mhm.
But as a kid, it was like, I couldn't look at him. He was so scary. I was like, he was the scariest person. Just the breath,
Yes.
freaks my bean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the long and the short of it is that there's just, these feel like histories rather than,
Active stories.
yes.
Yeah.
They don't feel. I don't feel like I'm being. They're not. They're not legend. They're histories, and that's different. Like I feel like it's just a lot of. It's a lot of historical facts, like of setting up circumstances in which things can happen. And it gets so lost in the sauce of, see, this is how this happened. Isn't that cool?
Remember this guy? This is the beginning of how he gets to
and
that
it
place.
is interesting watching Palpatine rise to power. And I do appreciate that there are small, subtle moves in all three of the movies where you can kind of see things going on in the background where it's like, oh man, he made this look easy.
Yeah, but that shouldn't. If we're just taking the story of what's going on, of the fall of the Republic and the rise of the Empire, just these three movies, things that shouldn't be subtle.
Yeah,
you should have written these movies as like not knowing that there's going to be an 8-season animated series backing you up to fill in all of the holes you left
Dude,
here.
I didn't even know until this watch through that Palpatine is from Naboo.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That should have been
very clear.
That should have been very clear. And it should also been like an amazing reveal of like, yo, what? Nope. It just like he just shows up. He shows up in a hologram.
Yes.
Palpatine, the Sidious shows up in the hologram, and then like, what are we gonna do? Oh, here's Senator Palpatine. Hey, dude.
All it would have taken is Senator Palpatine from Naboo, because like it's not.
Yeah.
It's just not clear. I mean, other people are like, "Oh, boo, boo, boo." I get it. I Star Wars. We're gonna get a lot of comments on this one, and that's all well and good.
You can write things to be a little bit clearer. It's not lore dumpy. It's not like looking down at the audience. You're just making sure that everyone knows like this is what's going on. And if you have a really complex situation, you got to figure out a way to like kind of dumb it down a little bit. That can still be complex, but just like, hey, Anakin, here's what's going on. Blah 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 blah.
I'm gonna be 1,000% honest with you. This is like kind of the thesis statement of my fix when we finally get to it. When we watched Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan apologizes to Anakin, it's probably the hardest I've ever actually cried in an episode of watching something.
Yes,
because it really meant something to me.
Yeah.
The majority of it meaning something to me was from extraneous Star Wars content, not from these movies.
Yes.
If we were, these movies should be a romance between Anakin and Padme, and a bromance between Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And it's neither of those things.
No. Well, episode 2, not to jump ahead here to whenever we do episode 2, but it starts off with Obi-Wan and Anakin in that elevator ride going up to Padme's talking about all those wacky, crazy adventures
I want to see those adventures. Just spend the first act of them just doing rad stuff. That's fine.
We are the best of friends because we did stuff like this channel wouldn't work if we
telling
just told you guys we were best friends.
Stop telling me you're best friends, guys. Stop telling me. Show me. Show me. To quote Eliza Doolittle, show me.
Here's the other thing. This movie was not written with episode 2 in mind.
No.
It wasn't.
No.
It wasn't.
This movie feels like 2 and 3 feel connected. 1 feels like its own little romp.
Yeah. Because this one really needed to be connected because when episode 2 shows up, it's like, this is the brand new start to the story because how did we get here from there? Who are all these new characters? They seem awfully important. Why didn't we know about them in the first movie? Because seemingly they were around during the events of the first movie, but we're like, this doesn't... Why can't anyone write a Star Wars trilogy all at once and have the story laid out? Don't get it.
Why does Qui-Gon exist other than just to die and be the impetus for Obi-Wan training Anakin?
Yep.
There's nothing about his personality in these movies that indicates to me that he really needs to exist.
Nope.
And it really bums me out because I really like Qui-Gon a lot.
Qui-Gon's awesome.
And I think we've learned a lot through other extraneous Star Wars stuff.
Thanks, Dave.
How cool he is.
Yes.
And we got a little taste of it in the movies, but I was like,
only a little.
But like, there's no dynamic between his and Obi-Wan's relationship. Have you noticed that? Like,
no.
they don't.
Because
they
gone.
don't have a relationship.
Act 2, they're gone.
Yeah.
They just separate, and then he's just Qui-Gon's just doing stuff, and Obi-Wan's on the ship.
On the ship, like a punk. I understand he's the Padawan. I go into that as well, because there's so much like.
Right.
I think we need to transition to that fix. But before we get into that fix,
Oh, that's right. We forgot a thing. We got just so caught up.
before we get into the fix, I think it's time for Brian to educate us about this film.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you thought we forgot the other thing, but we forgot the one thing, and we're not going to forget the beautiful
most
bean
more
facts again,
important things.
because Brian
Brian-
is getting very mad at us for getting in that segment, because once we get started talking about something,
Once we start gibbing and gabbing,
once we start the gibbon and or gabbin, that's the T-shirt, gibbon and or gabbin. Heidi Hove listeners, what was it? What? Yep. Brian, you were coming to you, bud. Brian, why don't you tell us about episode 1, The Phantom Menace, and roll that beautiful bean fun fact footage.
Thank you, gentlemen. Today, for our kind of 50th episode, we are starting off our fixes for the Star Wars prequels with 1999's Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Written and directed by George Lucas, it stars Liam Neeson, Natalie Portman, Jake Lloyd, Ian McDiarmid, Samuel L. Jackson, and of course, Ewan McGregor. It cost $115 million to make and made just over $1 billion. Now, there are so many bean fun facts about this movie. Like, there were a ton of breakthroughs in special effects, from like Jar Jar to how they integrated models with CGI. So, here are a few of my favorites. Michael Jackson expressed interest in playing Jar Jar Binks, but wanted to do it completely in prosthetics. Now, as Jay mentioned, this movie has come under heavy criticism for reflecting racist stereotypes, including Jar Jar, Watto, Boss Nass, and Newt Gunray, among others. Now, originally, Samuel L. Jackson was slated to play Grando Calrissian. That's right, Grando Calrissian, Lando's dad, but the character was cut and he stepped into the role of Mace Windu. If you care, this has a 51% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it won the Razzie for Best Supporting Actor for Jar Jar Binks. Now, I was obsessed with this movie at 13, but I knew it wasn't great. Now, here is my original Phantom Menace ticket, and I collected everything, even like the potato chips and the Pepsi cans with the characters on them. Now, when I think about this movie, I really just remember the fun parts, even though I know it's not great. But I totally agree with you, gentlemen. The Clone Wars and extraneous content helped to give these movies more context, like Qui-Gon's point of view on the Force and why that's important, and the main characters' relationships in general. Now, those are amazing band-aids for a movie that just like kind of can't get the job done. Anyway, back to you, gentlemen.
extensive.
Yeah.
That was a full holocron worth of knowledge
Yes,
there, Jay.
indeed, man.
And how that holocron survived the purge,
Who's
I don't
to say?
know. But
We have to go find a magic dagger so we can access it.
I don't know what you're talking about, and if you mention it again, I'm killing you.
You can't. I'll defend myself with this magical dagger I found. Created by Lord MacGuffin. Yes.
Yep.
Dark Lord MacGuffin.
Who came to power
Yes.
sometime after Endor, I
Yes,
guess.
indeed. People would make a pilgrimage to Lord MacGuffin and be asked to find small trinkets and or favors to bring to before MacGuffin. But before we get into fixes, also, I mean, because we could talk about this movie all day long.
We
and I
really
think we just,
could.
I think we just need to get into our fixes because I feel like we're gonna continue talking about more of this as we go through them. But before we get into that, Adam, for those people who have not seen Star Wars Episode 1, first of all, why are you still listening to this? Because
did any of that make sense before?
We've been talking about this for a long time. In our segment we call Plot Drop, Adam, as quickly as possible, describe the plot of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
All right. It's 20 years before the Republic falls.
Woo!
And there is a trade dispute over something. We don't quite know what. Between the Trade Federation and the planet of Naboo. Well, the Senate decides to send 2 Jedi to go rectify the situation.
Yes.
And they go and do that. But unfortunately, the Trade Federation's working with Palpatine. Bum, bum, bum. And he goes like, just kill him. And so the Trade Federation tries. They fail. The Jedi get to the planet. Run into Jar Jar. He meets the Gungans. They tell him, hey, take this ship through the planet core, which is, water.
Whatever that means.
Because water would exist at the heart of a planet. That's not how planets or physics work. Anyways, eventually, with Jar Jar in
gravity
tow,
would be wild.
It doesn't. I don't know why they did that whole Gungan thing. It's just dumb. They finally get to the, I believe the Nubian capital and talk to the queen. Like, hey, we're here to help the situation. They tried to kill us. We need to get you out of here. So they grab Padme and all of her handmaidens and they get off the planet in a really lame chase. Not even a chase sequence. They just fly off and get shot at, but they survive. But the ship is damaged. They go to Tatooine. We got to get a part. We try to find a part, but what we find is Anakin. Hey, you're a slave. So's your mom. We got to get off the planet. We need a thing. Well, I pod race. What's that? It's a really cool video game that a lot of kids in the 90s are going to love. So Anakin races.
The game was real good.
For about 15 to 20 minutes. The scene is actually decently long because I just skipped it when I watched it.
What?
It's lame.
What?
It doesn't move the plot forward. It's
so cool, dude.
It's the dumb.
It's
the
not
dumb
dumb at all.
It's lame.
Are you about to look me in the face and tell me pod racing is not in your fix? I will slap you across the mouth if it's not in your fix.
It is my fix.
It is in your fix?
Yes.
Good, because it's awesome.
It's in the background, though.
Yo, if we can remaster that pod racing game, get on
I know
that.
people will like it.
Yo.
So
I can
Anakin
build my own pod racer.
Anakin pod race. He wins because he's force sensitive. And so Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are able to get Anakin freed from his slavery, but not his mom, which is Sayod. Oh, we learned about midichlorians, and that's stupid. So they go to Coruscant. They got to meet. Padme's got to talk to the Senate about hey, we're under attack. Help us. And then the Jedi are like, hey, Anakin's a cool kid. Also, there's a Sith out there. He's bad. Also, this kid should be trained. And they're like, don't worry about the Sith guy. We'll look for him. And we're not training the kid. Meanwhile, Padme is like, we're under attack. And the Senate's is like, are you? I don't know. Bureaucracy.
Yeah.
So she goes along with Palpatine's plan, who's a senator of Naboo, and is like, call for a no vote or no confidence vote on the Chancellor. And so she does, even though she is not a senator and shouldn't be able to do that in this body of politic.
Yeah, but her cool outfits.
George Lucas dressing a girl up is very weird and awkward. Anyway, so the Senate's not going to help them. Palpatine's now got his route to power because Valorum's gone, and so he might ascend. Even though wasn't Bail Organa also, or was it Bail Antilles? Bail somebody was nominated to be the Chancellor, and I wrote down I thought it was Bail Organa, which would have been interesting to have him just be around. Anyways, everyone heads back to Naboo because no one's going to help them. So the couple of Jedi take Padme back. She runs into the Gungans like, we are all one people because we're all on the same planet. Help us take out the droids. And they're like, sure. And so there's a 4-way battle at the end of this movie. It's the Gungans taking on the droid army in the field, which is dumb. It doesn't need to be happening. There's the pilots taking out the control ship in space. There's only one ship, apparently, and there was a blockade of a bunch earlier. I don't know where the other ships went. The Jedi are fighting Darth Maul.
Wizard!
And Padme is trying to take out the Viceroy in the palace. They all succeed in their things. Qui-Gon dies. Anakin blows up the ship. Obi-Wan kills. Squeaky. Maul. And somehow Jar Jar survives, even though he is the usefulest of idiots. And then the Gungans get a glowing ball at the end, and
yeah, cause
why?
Why not?
And Palpatine's like, "Oh, young Anakin, I'm interested in seeing your career," as if he's never seen or knows about Anakin, which seems like he should know him because of things he says in episode 3.
He's not gonna say that, hey, I impregnated your mom.
I'm not
with the
saying.
Force.
I know.
Man, that is also out of my fix hard.
Yes.
I don't know the father. Oh boy. Boy.
Episode 1 in no way connected to episode 2.
In no way connected. No way connected.
That was much faster.
You did great. You've really gotten it in your head about taking forever while doing that.
Yes.
But sometimes you
hit those points.
Yeah. Sometimes you describe haircuts in a way that, or
yeah.
tell the full menu.
Grain by grain, Jay.
I don't need to know all the options.
I know.
I don't want all the specials.
You
I
sure?
already know I want to order.
A lot of specials, Jay. Bury the light deep within.
All right. I think we need to get into fixing this thing. I'm going first.
Jay is Going first.
Okay. The thesis.
Jay, fix it.
Look at that.
There it
Look at
is.
that. Oh, that's
Yeah,
good.
look at that.
Okay. The thesis statement for my fix
Yes.
is, I want these movies to be I want this to be an epic Shakespearean comedy.
Oh.
I want it to be a love story
Mm-hmm.
of both between like in traditional love story sense, but also like found family love story.
Sure.
Like the relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin and all of that stuff. So
It's guy love between two guys.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, ego. My movie opens on.
It's still the Phantom Menace. I mean, I thought, is that like an unwritten
I am
rule?
maintaining the
Yeah.
Phantom Menace.
Yeah, I thought it was an.
I think that is an unwritten rule.
that we
Because Brian was like, the unwritten rule is, in my head, I was like, he's about to say we have to keep Jar Jar, and I'm going to absolutely punch him in the mouth.
No, that's not.
I mean, he was like, it has to be the Phantom Menace. So it is indeed the Phantom Menace. Because that is also a baller title. The Phantom Menace is good.
It's not as bad. I thought it was a little wishy-washy.
I think it's fun. I just think it's fun to say.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. So my my movie opens up on it is going to be flipping back and forth. It is going to be like kind of an action-y montage, flipping back between two sequences.
Okay.
The first sequence, we get the opening crawl,
Boom. Yep.
describing like what's been leading up to this. Trade Federation is like invading Naboo. Like, and that is like the main issue at hand.
Sure.
The first shot is actually one of the Trade Federation landing ships landing on Naboo.
Oh, so you're just
like
getting to it?
Like we have the opening crawl. The camera pans down
Right.
to Naboo. We zoom in. We get this lush, amazing new planet we've never seen before in
Yep.
Star Wars. That's awesome.
Yep.
Like all the cool castles. Narnia kind of looks like Dinotopia, but that's not neither here nor there. And so we get the first shot, like in the first Star Wars, is their big landing ship,
Sure.
and then we see the droid army
Yeah.
land on Naboo.
Mm-hmm.
And basically this first sequence is going to be the droid invasion of Naboo, but we're also going to be seeing it mostly after we get to the droids landing and the droids deciding to attack. The majority of the perspective is going to be shown from Padme, who's on the ground in Naboo, fighting her way through droids with Naboo soldiers.
That I'm picturing that in my head, dude. That is so much stronger.
Yes.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it is Padme and all of her soldiers fighting through droids, through eventually trying to get back to the palace.
Yes.
They're fighting their way back to the palace, because they need to save Queen Amidala.
Yeah, they need to get out of
And
there, yeah.
they're throwing Queen Amidala around, terminology wise.
Sure.
So we get to know we're like, who is Queen Amidala? What is this? And who are you, Pat? Who are you? You're she's kind of like some rebel leader. If it gives that kind of more the Star Wars vibe.
Is she dressed in one of those crazy outfits, or more of a tactical queen-esque outfit?
I think it's
for running and gunning.
I kind of have Padme is kind of almost, rather than just a handmaiden, is almost like chief of security
Whoa!
for Queen Amidala.
Neat.
She's it's a little giving her a lot more agency.
Yes.
And she can kick ass.
Yes, she can.
And so they're moving their way through the city. Cut to this. These sequences are going to be mashed up with a young boy waking up on Tatooine. And he is very much like a Ferris Bueller, hitting his alarm, and he is moving his way through kind of the slums of Mos Espa, and helping. He is kind of the neighborhood darling, but is kind of a scamp and kind of a rascal about
Sure.
it. And he's kind of helping all of his neighbors and maybe stealing an apple or something. But you can kind of see that there are certain things about the way he moves about the world that it's very obvious he has the Force.
Okay.
And I don't think he necessarily registers it, but he's kind of Jedi mind tricking the bullies on the street to be leave a kid.
He doesn't
alone.
know he's doing it, but
He doesn't totally know what he's doing.
rolling high in his persuasion skills, but really he's actually
That's
activating
exactly what
his
it is.
mind trick.
He's making his way to work in the morning.
Make his way.
And these two, so we get these two sequences like back and forth, and then the kind of final scene of the Naboo side of this is that Padme, they make their way to a safe house, and R2-D2 is there.
Okay.
And she gets a hologram message from R2-D2 of Queen Amidala saying, like, we've lost the palace, like, we have to evacuate. I am heading to Coruscant to make a plea to the Senate to stop the Trade Federation. The Trade Federation's invasion. They're like, this is wildly illegal. This is like against like our contract with them.
And it's galactic law.
And they're like, you need to she's like, you need to do your best to protect our citizens from this onslaught. Like,
question.
Yes.
Are Padme and Queen Amidala two separate people?
No, they look exactly the same.
Oh, okay.
They look exactly the same. It's a similar vibe. You'll see.
Gotcha.
Her being a
is that Keira Knightley?
Her being a body double is Keira Knightley. It is that.
It is.
Her being a body double is important.
Oh yeah.
To this story. So Padme is like total badass, but realizes that like they have to like kind of lock down in Naboo a little bit.
Sure.
And then Anakin makes his way to Watto's shop. And we find out, like, people have been like, hey, like, you did amazing in that pod race, blah, 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 blah. And he gets to Watto's shop, and Watto informs Anakin that due to his success in the last pod race, his slave contract has been bought by Jabba. And so the last shot of his sequence is him showing up to Jabba's palace and being like, oh, my new pod racer. Right?
Because Jabba's in this movie.
Yes. Jabba's in the movie.
He's there.
And
Jabba's there.
And that's what I was saying earlier. It makes Jabba more important in the grand scheme of things. And it also, like, if you're watching from episode 1 to episode 3, when Greedo shows up and it's like Jabba's looking for you, like the audience goes, oh shit, oh yeah, oh no, that guy's bad. Like, we have a frame of reference.
Yes.
Okay, so those are like that's like that's like opening crawl.
Yeah.
We cut to Coruscant, and we see Obi-Wan Kenobi is being put through his final. We're leading up to we're basically like in the Jedi locker room of sorts.
Sure.
And he is prepping to go in for his final knighthood test.
Trial, yeah.
His final trial, and like Qui-Gon is there, and he's taking him through the paces. And then we eventually, there's a lot of inspirational things they talk about. And yada, yada, yada.
We get some characterization of them and their relationship.
We get some characterizations, and we see Obi-Wan who like he's kind of a little bit of a rebel as far as things go, and Qui-Gon is the one that's kind of pulling him back, being like, hey, like,
okay.
The Jedi Code is like here for a reason. And we kind of set that dynamic because that push and pull is going to be very important for the two of them. But then we eventually we see a third person shows up, and it's Count Dooku.
Goddamn right it is.
Because he's and Qui-Gon's like, Master Dooku, like, what are you doing here? And he's like, well, it's tradition that like he's like, you're the Padawan of my Padawan. Is going through the test, like I have to be here, and so we set that dynamic.
Yes, yes, you do. Yes, you absolutely do.
And it's and I still think Christopher Lee is perfect. It's like he's very smarmy, but I think he's very likable.
He is very likable.
Very rigid.
Sure.
And so we get a conversation. Between we start the test and we get to see like cool Jedi stuff for a Jedi test.
Yes.
That's just fun to see.
Yes, it
like
is.
that we also get like what like the Jedi were like before everything goes down.
Yes,
Which who doesn't want that?
It. Yes,
but
yes,
we kind of see it from the perspective of Qui-Gon and Dooku, and so we get kind of a longer conversation between the two of them during this test. And Dooku's like, "We've had this. This has been the test since Master Yoda's taken this test. Like, a lot of these things don't account for any of the actual realities of what we're dealing with as far as like Coruscant is, or the we're supposed to. He's like, we're now policing the galaxy and yada yada yada. So we bring a lot of that like questions of the Jedi Council and things like that. And Qui-Gon's like, no, like he's very rigid to the rules. but not in like a dorky way. In like a no, like
There's a reason why we have these laws,
Yeah.
and we're gonna follow them. I'm sure because they came to them by trial and error.
So, Obi-Wan passes his trial.
Yeah, he does.
Before he is officially knighted, though, he is called into the Jedi Council chambers with Qui-Gon, and Dooku follows along because he has rank. He can go.
Yep.
He's not. They're not thrilled he's there,
Sure,
but
he can
but
be
he
there.
but he can be there.
Yeah.
And then we find out once they enter there, the senator from Naboo, Palpatine, enters the chambers and informs the Jedi Council of what's going on in Naboo.
As this is a huge reveal of
Yeah.
Palpatine walking into the room.
Yes.
Yes.
Palpatine walks into the room and asks the Jedi for help. He was like, Queen Amidala is en route to Coruscant to make a plea before the Senate, but like I need to send an envoy I need to send peacekeepers to Naboo in order to like make sure that things are going the way they're supposed to go.
Sure.
And we're setting up in this that Qui-Gon at some point had helped Queen Amidala's father with something, and so
Sure, makes
that
sense.
was the Jedi she knew to ask for help.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like much like how Leia just like Obi-Wan was the only Jedi she knew. And so Qui-Gon is enlisted to help. And they stop Obi-Wan from getting his knighthood because he hasn't been officially knighted yet. Like, following the rules, he's not technically a Jedi Knight. He's a Padawan, and his master is called. So he has to go along. He is very upset about having to go along. He's like, I'm a Jedi Knight. Like, I just passed my test, and they're like, you haven't officially knighted yet. Like, your master has been summoned immediately. Like, we will be able to fully make you a knight when you
Sure,
are back.
yeah.
But this is the law of the Jedi. You must adhere to the law of the Jedi. And Obi-Wan is so mad, furious, because he's just like, he's like, I would go on my own, but I don't understand. Like, you're forcing me to go. I would choose to go.
Yeah.
But you're forcing me to go.
Because of tradition. Just give me this.
Yeah, and Dooku's just like nodding with him, like, yeah, I don't, yeah.
This is kind of dumb.
Yeah, this is
You did it.
This is,
You did it, kid. You're great. Yeah.
And what makes Obi-Wan even matter is that Dooku actually volunteers to go in his stead, so Obi-Wan can be knighted. And they're like, that's not how this works. And they're like, Dooku, actually, we do need to speak with you after this meeting. And then I believe, like Mace Windu says to him, like, when you're a full knight, you'll be able to choose your own movements and be master of your own destiny, in adherence to the council, of course. You and the Padawan that you are free to choose, they will in turn be forced to go wherever you go. This is the way of the Jedi. But the concept of the Padawan that you so choose is kind of the
important,
key, the key aspect of that letter of law. Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan go to Naboo, get mixed up and stuff. They eventually meet up with Padme.
Sure.
And they inevitably try to seek an audience with the Trade Federation. In true Akbar terms, it's a trap. They fight their way out of it.
Sure.
Great. I'm now moving a little bit faster.
Sure.
The knights, the Jedi Knights, and along with Padme, after that, fighting their way out of that trap, they are forced to retreat off of Naboo.
Okay.
Because they have been marked. Like, she was like, this is only going to hurt the people in Naboo. We need to go. They make their way off planet, and having a meeting of figuring out what they need to do, they realize that basically, the long and short of it is, like, the leaders of the Trade Federation were never going to be physically on the planet of Naboo. That's why they have their robots. They're going to be on their main space station. Like, we need to figure out a way to get on there. And Padme's like, well, I mean, there are ways to get on there, but, like, they're not official channels that we have to go through. Like, we're going to have to, like, go through some back channels in order to get this done.
Ooh,
she was
already
like,
giving her more characterization.
Oh, yeah, she has.
Because she'll get
she
it done.
Has connections.
She has Yes.
She was like, I could call in a favor with the Hutts.
I will break some rules to make sure that the people
She's
are
like,
safe.
we're gonna need a different ship, and we're gonna need a access code. Like, and I have a favor with the Hutts, and I'm probably gonna have to call it in.
That's so good.
I know, isn't it?
It's so good.
So they make their way to Jabba's palace, and upon seeking an audience with Jabba, during the conversation with Jabba, Qui-Gon kind of sticks. His negotiation tactics are a little old fashioned. They're a little like Jedi forward, and they're
Sure.
And the whole time, like Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and Padme are kind of like, hey, like just like this isn't how you do this. Like we're making a deal. We're not like commandeering
Right.
the ship. Like this is not how this works.
We gotta treat these people as people.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. We gotta get on their level.
And basically they get imprisoned.
No.
So through they get imprisoned by Jabba, and Jabba's like, I'll figure out what to do with you. Like honestly, I will make more money ransoming you guys to whoever wants you than I will from this deal. Lo and behold, this slave who is put in charge of the jail cells is a young Anakin Skywalker.
How old is Anakin?
Anakin is played by Hayden Christensen. We have an older Anakin because he's the same age. I looked it up. He's the same age as Natalie Portman.
Oh, is he really?
The two of them are both 42 right now.
Wow.
Yes.
Huh.
I know.
Huh.
They're the exact same age.
Wow.
They're like not exact, but you know what I'm saying.
Close enough.
And so basically Qui-Gon figures out pretty quickly that Anakin is force sensitive.
So they're like
And-
16. They're like 16-ish, somewhere around 16.
Yes. Yeah. Which is perfectly
Yes.
they're the Luke Skywalker age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Close enough to it.
And they're the perfect age for young star-crossed lovers.
Yeah.
Like and Anakin and Padme like obviously like do not get along from the jump.
Of course not.
And if anything, like Qui-Gon is not so sure about him, but Obi-Wan is like, I like this kid. Like this kid can get it done.
Let's get it done. Yeah.
And so we get some we're gonna do some jump sequences here again where Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon are kind of in this and the three of them are in this jail cell for a while, and they're working out a relationship with Anakin, who's in charge of their cells, and simultaneously we are getting Queen Amidala
Coruscant,
getting to
yeah.
Coruscant, and dealing with Palpatine, and it's a very similar situation to the vote of no, like setting up a vote of no confidence. But that's as far as we get. We don't get to the actual vote. We get to the concept of this is what's going to have to happen.
Gotcha.
Gets to a point where they're like, but like the Senate, like in order to like call this to order, like it's going to take a little while for Palpatine to be able to set it up. So he's like, I will keep you safe until this happens. We get to a point where Anakin steps in while because Qui-Gon is like has set up another meeting with Jabba to like be like, oh, I have secrets or something, and Anakin steps in and is like, hey, I like basically presents the these gentlemen like have a certain number of credits on it, and they would like to bet it on my pod racing race, and I think you should allow them to do that because I'm probably gonna win because I'm really really good.
Because I'm awesome.
And Jabba's like, okay. And basically, Obi-Wan steps out of character, and in order to, he steps out, and it pisses off Qui-Gon because he's like, I'll make you another bet. If Anakin wins, if Anakin wins this pod race, like we as the Jedi will owe you a favor, but you will have to let us go. And
Okay.
Qui-Gon's like, you don't
Whoa,
speak.
you don't-
You don't
yep.
speak for the Jedi like that. Like that's not how this works. And Qui-Gon's like, we just need to get out of here. Like he's gonna win this pod race. Cut to pod racing. Now, here's the dynamic between Padme and Anakin I'm setting up.
Okay.
Anakin is like, he hasn't proved himself with Jabba really. He's won one race because Jabba's like, he's my newest pod racer. Like he's paying his dues here.
Yeah.
Like he's not. I'm not gonna let him race. And they're like,
Sure.
you'll beat your best racer, Sebulba, obviously,
Of course.
because that whole design
Yes.
was very good. So they're getting set up for the race. Anakin doesn't, because he doesn't have Watto's team anymore. He doesn't have a race like a shot caller
Sure.
in like on comms like for NASCAR or
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
And it comes to find out, and Padme was like, "Oh, I can shot call," And they're like, what? They're like, excuse me? She's like, the queen really likes pod racing. How do you think we know Jabba in the first place? And she's like, and Anakin's like, well, how do you know this? And like, she has like all the answers. She's like, well, on turn 3, you're going to have to like worry about this, and this. And Anakin's like, oh.
You like the thing I like?
Yeah.
Yes.
But they're being really, but the thing is, so during the pod race, Anakin has Padme in his ear the whole time, and they're just kind of like going back and forth.
Are they jibbing and jabbing?
They're jibbing and jabbing and gibbing and gabbing, just all the things. Just getting that menu shirt. He wins. Yay. Pod racing's awesome.
Does Sebulba die?
No, Sebulba is very much alive.
Okay. Did
His
he die?
pod-
Did he die in the movie?
No.
No, the pod just kind of tumbled and he was all right. I thought he exploded.
They win freedom. They get the path. They get all the shit they need to make it to the Trade Federation ship. They make their way onto the Trade Federation ship, and it becomes they are basically making their way towards like the main boss guys. So
the Viceroy and stuff.
The Viceroys,
Yeah.
so they can finally like put this to an end. We find the basic or R2D2 communicates to them some news from a previous scene that I just skipped over. We set up the vote of no confidence,
Right.
And right before, basically, it's set up that Queen Amidala decides to call for a vote of no confidence. Her platform immediately explodes. And so that leads to everyone jumping in, being like, clearly we need to vote of no confidence because someone who's trying to call it out is being murdered on the Senate floor. And so that's how Palpatine makes his way to power, because everyone is like really feeling bad about Naboo, and so they all focus on Palpatine because he is their actual senator. They straight up kill Queen. They realize that Queen Amidala has been murdered, and so they have like a moment in the Trade Federation ship where they're like, Queen Amidala's been killed. Like, what do we even do here? And Padme's like,
Or
yeah.
they say something like, we didn't do that. We didn't order that.
no, yeah,
Yeah,
they're like, we didn't-
through dialogue, like we had no part of that. That wasn't part of the plan.
But we realize, Padme proves herself to actually be the actual
Sure.
Padme Amidala, the actual queen of. She's like, that was my body double. Like,
That service will not be forgotten.
Yeah.
Holy crap, dude!
So
That's good.
realizing that they actually have the actual Queen Amidala with them, Anakin's like, we need to get out of here. You and I need to get out of here. I was like, they can do for them. They can fight for themselves and take care of what they need to take care of. This isn't our fight anymore. We need to get you the hell off this planet. And so they hop in a ship, and it's Padme and Anakin in a small Naboo fighter having to fight. Like, we get to see Anakin, like, she's like, have you ever flown a ship before? He's like, how different is it from pod racing?
It's pod racing. This is pod racing.
Yeah, so we get to see them like fight their way back to they fight their way back down to Naboo, and people like Naboo is obviously is mourning the loss of Queen Amidala when they realize that it was her body double and she's actually alive and well, and Padme, who has been helping the people of Naboo, is actually their queen. It kind of rallies the Naboo people to like basically fighting back effectively against the droid army. Yeah. Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan make their way to the bridge, and they see they start fighting against the Trade Federation, but there's just too many droids there, and they're kind of basically pinned down, and the Viceroys are ha 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 ha. But then they get comms that there's been like an unauthorized landing on the pad, and
it's Luke Skywalker.
It's Luke Skywalker. And eventually we see Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon are saved by Count Dooku.
Yes, they are.
And he absolutely murks all of these droids.
With
saves
cool
the two
ass
of them.
saber.
And then finally it's just the Viceroy and his whatever guy left. And then Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are like, oh, that's amazing. Like, we need to like you guys are gonna have to answer for your crimes. Like, this is like we're gonna have to like figure this out with the Senate. And Count Dooku's like, that won't be necessary. And he force lightnings both the Viceroys to death. And he's like, this never send a boy to do a man's job. Like, he roasts these idiots, and then it turns around, and we realize that like Count Dooku has obviously been leading the Trade Federation and leading this situation. It's like, I didn't want you guys to get caught up in this, and I figured that you guys were off on Tatooine and this wasn't going to be a problem, but now it's a problem. And then we, like, I think Count Dooku, like, has, like, a green saber, and he's just kind of like, ugh, and we see him pull out the red saber with, like, the curved blade. He's like, all right. Like, we tried it the old way.
I've told the council again and again, and they will never listen. They're too stuck in their ways.
Like,
the people are in. Yep.
The Jedi Council has needed fresh air for a millennia, and they have refused to see any kind of logic.
To change with the times, to grow, to learn, to
and so
adapt.
in order for the Jedi Council to change, I'm gonna force them to change.
Yep.
And so we get a fight between all of them. Eventually, like, Dooku's like kind of a little bit of a loss because there's two of them, and I think he hops into an escape pod of some kind, sets off a self-destruct system on the mothership, and he's out. They got to find their way back to Naboo. The mothership explodes. All of the droids drop in Naboo. End of film. But, well, not end of film. We have the celebration in Naboo,
right?
And we see Palpatine show up with some of the Jedi Council and be like, "I'm the new Chancellor." Like Obi-Wan, like, thank you for saving
our queen,
for saving our queen and just like truly being an exemplary Knight of the Jedi. Like, and we brought, like, some of the Jedi Council has come along to finish your knighting ceremony, and Obi-Wan is knighted finally. And he looks at Mace Windu, who knights him, and just says, like, the Padawan that I so choose, correct? And Mace Windu's like, absolutely. And he's like, I choose Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, that kid.
Yeah.
Anakin's just like, what?
Yeah, I choose Anakin Skywalker, and then blackout. That's it. We get Padme and Anakin get a lot of time to, like, actually fall in love.
Yeah.
We get that the Jedi Council is kind of losing it,
mm-hmm.
and we get the rise of Palpatine.
Yeah,
all the things.
And Dooku.
Well, Dooku is like I think Dooku is like should be the lightning rod for the Jedi Council, is not where it needs to be.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I want people to fall in love with Anakin Skywalker and Padme Amidala. I want them, and also it is important to me that we set up Anakin as a Luke foil. And it is really important to me that Padme is a Leia foil. Like, I need her to be more of a badass.
Yes.
And I need to see more. Need you to stop telling me that she's a badass by, like, ripping the midriff off her shirt in Attack of the Clones.
Yeah,
and just be a badass.
Because the first movie she ran around the palace and shot a couple of droids at the end, but that wasn't. So that was okay. I mean, that wasn't great. And then her midriff got ripped in the second one, and then she was just pregnant through the third to die. She didn't really do a ton of stuff.
No.
She was just loving Anakin. Like the water flowing through a river.
Uh-huh.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
That's,
woof.
Yeah.
That was, dude.
And it's quick. It clips.
Yes,
it's like
it
there's
goes.
not a lot of wasted time.
We got to go. We got to do stuff.
And we also get to see stuff we want to see.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was great, dude.
Thanks.
Good job. Okay. My turn.
All right. Adam, fix it.
We have some similar things. But we go.
Oh, do we really?
Oh, yeah. Because
Dooku is the guy.
Yes.
Until it's the Emperor, Dooku's the guy.
Yes.
I'm gonna figure out a way to get Darth Maul in there somewhere.
Sure.
Because he is really cool.
Yeah.
But we'll get there.
Yeah. We'll earn it.
Yeah.
Okay. So for my fix, I have some of the similar, like, thesis statements of what we talked about earlier and what you kind of had. Like, but here's the basic stuff that I was trying to get across with my fix. Qui-Gon's got to find Anakin. Dooku has to leave the Order and set up the Clone Wars. Like, we have to tie directly into what happens in Episode 2.
Uh-huh.
Anakin needs to see the Order, We can't just be like, oh, he's there, and then the council knows, like, no, he needs to be. This is the Jedi, temple on Coruscant. This is all the cool stuff we do here. We need to see it, like almost like Willy Wonka's factory. Like we need to see the temple and see what the Jedi are up to. We need to see the rot in the government. We actually need to see examples of it, not just told in the scroll or whatever. Palpatine needs to be shown, manipulating things, the droid army, and in my movie, Obi-Wan's the main character.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Obi-Wan is our hero of 1,000 faces.
I like that.
Because Obi-Wan and Ewan McGregor's fantastic, and like we can see it from.
He's the best part of these movies. Full stop.
We can have everything revolve around because Obi-Wan's in the center of all of it.
Yeah.
So like he can be our audience touchstone. Okay. So Act 1. This is same. The crawl comes up. Is about peace in the Republic. The kind of stuff we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Peace in the Republic for was it like 1,000 generations, but tensions are high because the government can't seem to meet the people's needs. And basically, we can see like there's a class war brewing.
Yeah.
But like we're not like this specific trade situation. It's like no, we can just tell there's things are tense in the galaxy.
Yeah.
Because the people aren't all right. And a few Jedi Masters are sent to go to with a delegation from the Senate to help broker a peaceful outcome for a sticky situation at Naboo.
Great.
So camera pans down, from the crawl.
I'm glad that we both like Naboo. I think Naboo's great.
There's nothing wrong with Naboo.
If anything, we needed more of it, and not just the Gungan side of it. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So the camera pans down from the crawl right into a Republic cruiser flying through space, and we kind of cut into the interior of the ship, and we see a young man wearing a helmet, some type of helmet thing or whatever, and a bunch of little droids, like the stuff that Luke used in New Hope, around him, and we see him ignite his lightsaber, and then do this training of blocking all these bolts and just being awesome. And I was like, whoa, that was sick. And you hear Qui-Gon off camera being like, well done, Obi-Wan. And then you see Ewan McGregor take off the helmet.
Huh.
But standing next to Qui-Gon is Count Dooku.
Yeah.
And so now we're going to get a scene of like them congratulating Obi-Wan on his training, and also like you're about to be a Jedi Knight.
Yeah.
He's right there at the cusp. I think Obi-Wan's a couple years older than he was in the original version of the movie. And they are all there to protect the 4 senators that were sent by the Senate to help broker a peace deal between the Trade Federation and Naboo on some mining rights for like on the Nubian moon.
Oh, okay.
This basically the issue is something we could put into a Clone Wars episode.
Oh, I think I figured out what the Trade Federation actually does.
Sure, what is
and
it,
what they actually are as a writ large
organization. Yeah,
and I think what the concept of a blockade makes sense and means.
Okay.
I like to think that the Trade Federation operates as an export and import for outer rim planets who don't have the ability to do it themselves.
Oh,
like they are like
okay.
they're basically like middlemen for intergalactic trade.
Sure.
And so it's gotten to the point where it's like, because the whole time I was like, Trade Federation like blockading Naboo. I was like, they're perfectly like they have an ecosystem. Like why would they need like
they're part of the Republic. Yeah.
Why would they need why would trade from other planets be a problem? I like the idea that the economy is tanking because Naboo is relying on being able to export a lot of their resources, and they no longer have the ability to do that anymore. So it's not an environment. It's not like a resource crisis. It's an economic crisis.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Yeah. It's similar with mine. Like there's resources on the moon that they are arguing over.
That makes sense. Okay.
And
I like
the
that.
Jedi are sent there to protect the Senate delegation to help broker a peaceful outcome for this, kind of a sticky wicket, but like. We're Jedi and senators,
but also this is textbook. This is why you have a Senate.
Yeah, we could. This is it's just a Thursday or a Thursday for some people in the orchard. So we get we're learning this through Qui-Gon and Dooku talking about like just general stuff. Like the situation what we're in and the senators that they're protecting, because this is where. Much like that Tales of the Jedi episode that we saw last fall with Dooku and Qui-Gon on that planet, and they're like, "Oh, this guy's an asshole."
Yeah.
And Qui-Gon's like, "You're just there for power. You're not out there looking for the people. This is ridiculous."
Yeah.
We're gonna see a couple examples of that with this delegation. Also, part of the delegation is a young Bail Organa.
Oh shit.
Organa. Okay. Who will be showing us the opposite side of people being jerks. He's like, no, government can work. I'm here to help everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I'm young. I'm like maybe barely 30. I'm not even 30 yet. Maybe late 20s. But like, I'm new. I'm here to help and go Alderaan. Woo! Because I'm Bail Organa and I kick ass. So we're seeing this, and then we get this whole situation set up. They're there. The senators are there. Trade Federation's there. Our Jedi are there. And while they're in the meeting, it's a little bit tense. And then Queen Amidala shows up because she's the leader of the planet, the local leader. Everyone's about to talk. And all of a sudden, one of the servers or something like a Nubian shows. And all of a sudden, just yells something about like Naboo freedom or like some type of phrase, and shoots one of the Trade Federation like viceroys or whatever.
Oh wow! Okay.
Then the droids activate and start shooting at people. And so the war, like a little battle breaks out in the room.
Yeah.
Jedi snap to, and like everyone's like freaking out. One of the senators is killed, and so Dooku takes the remaining 3 senators, scampers off. Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon take Padme, who's also not dressed in some crazy fancy. It's not. It's
I
just,
thought the outfits were fun.
no,
They were at
they
least. It was
they
at
were
least
not-
a choice.
They were not functional. They can be cool, but they can be like Star Warsy, but functional. She's
I
in
don't
the
know. I
more
thought they were. I don't know. I appreciated that it was trying to show Naboo culture, even though that was one of the few ways they at least tried.
She had like glowing globes in her skirt at one point. That was
Yeah, it
kind
was
of
fun.
weird. Anyways, they bounce out. They get into a ship, and they are chased by droid fighters. And we're gonna now we actually get like a chase scene. And R2 is in this ship,
Yeah.
so he's not outside the ship. He's inside the ship.
Okay.
Because sending him outside to fix the thing, that was dumb.
Yeah.
He's just inside booping bopping things like he does anywhere else. Anyways, they head off and get but they're damaged, so they crash on Tatooine.
Obviously.
But we also see the droid army land on Naboo, and we actually watch them like kill people in a PG-13 manner. Like, but we actually like see the violence
Yeah.
because they kept talking about it in the movie. Like, people are dying. Are they?
And that also it's quote unquote justified because it's retaliation. Okay. I like that.
Meanwhile,
We
also
didn't start this. Yeah.
on the ship, though, as things are kind of going crazy, the audience sees a black-robed figure in the background, just kind of walking around a little bit, as as everything's kind of going crazy. We just see somebody just walking around, and as Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Padme zoom off the Tatooine, we hang there. We stay because the ship, and we just stay in the space. And the camera backs up a little bit. We see no ship, just kind of hanging there, and we go inside the ship. And we see the black-robed guy takes the robe. I mean, we're seeing him from behind. Black robe, the hood comes down, and we see just kind of horns on his head.
Righteous.
And then a hologram pops up, and it's Palpatine. So they are headed to Tatooine. Okay. Well, the mission's the same. Continue on. Excellent, my master.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
We don't know it's Palpatine. It is Darth Sidious, quote unquote.
It is Dark Sidious, yes.
Yes. Okay.
Or, yes, it's Dark Sidious. So we've set up everything now. We got Dooku's out there with the senators. We know where his point of view is everything. We got Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, their point of view of stuff. Because I get the Padawan of my Padawan. It's like, so we have a good general idea how it can, and also Padme can much like yours, can handle herself, can acquit herself well in this.
Yeah.
We gotta go, and she's like, oh no, she can take care of
Girl
herself
can
a little
hang.
bit. Yeah, she can hang. Okay, great. Okay, so we head to Tatooine. A lot of the same stuff happens here. But here's the main difference. I have Anakin as 14. Let's bump him up because Padme's 16. Let's bump him up to 15. And let's have him as Hayden Christensen. They need to be closer in age.
Yeah.
Because it's just
Weird.
ridiculous. It's creepy.
Because it's weird.
It doesn't feel like. Are you an angel? Like the first, whoa. No, please.
Yeah.
This doesn't feel right at all. Please stop.
Sucks.
Please stop. But Anakin's the same person. He's idealistic. He wants to see the stars. He wants all the same stuff. But he's not a little baby about it. Obi-Wan goes with them into the city to do the stuff. But this is where also we touch on the slave angle on Tatooine. As Padme is kind of brought up to speed, hey, what's going on here? Because she, is aware of the outer galaxy and she knows stuff, but there's a lot of slaves still in the galaxy, and it's not great.
Yeah.
People don't like the slave trade, but people are still doing it and earning a lot of money off of it. And Qui-Gon also is not, because in the movie he's just like, yeah, slaves, what are you gonna do, right? there was that little bit of an attitude because like, are you here to free me? He's like, not really. No, we just gotta get our shit.
That's too much trouble.
Yeah, right. Not this time. It's like Qui-Gon's like, oh, that was not our main purpose, but slavery is one of the things that we are still working on trying to fix. Like he actively does not like this.
Yeah.
He hates that it's going on. He also kind of hates he can't really do anything about it right now.
Yeah.
But he wants to do. You clearly see Qui-Gon. This is rubbing Qui-Gon the wrong way. He wants to be able to handle the situation.
Yeah.
But the council will not let him. So we also see Maul land, and we get to the pod racing thing again. But this time, we're not focused on the race. We are focused on Maul hunting Padme. So interspersed with the race, as Anakin's flying and doing stuff as a cool 15-year-old beating Sebulba, we are intercutting that race with Obi-Wan and Maul, or Obi-Wan leading Padme away from Maul,
Okay.
and Obi-Wan and Maul fighting during the race.
Oh, cool.
So Obi-Wan's gonna fight Maul for the first time.
But like a pod racing, like interstitched with lightsaber fight.
It's interstitched with the lightsaber.
That's not bad.
Obi-Wan, it'll be a draw, and he's only using one side of the saber.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's not.
And we're not showing the second side of the trailer, the second side of the saber in the trailer.
Not even close. Not even.
Can
close.
you imagine though?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. You know what it would have been akin to? Cap getting the hammer.
Yeah, seeing it assemble for the first time.
Yeah.
Ugh, I almost cried just thinking about it.
Every time I pop it up on YouTube, sometimes it's just like, and even when people like putting a different music in it, I tear up every time.
Yeah.
I saw one recently where someone put in each individual character's themes and laced it into the overarching Avengers theme.
Yeah.
But like every time in each individual character, like it's like, this is so much better than what. Oh my!
I had the thought and I timed something out. Also, Kimberly like walked in with me like trying to time the music out to this.
Sure.
And she'd be like, "Why are you watching Captain Marvel?" And I was like, I just had a thought and I'm trying to see if it works. She's like, "What?" Instead of the Nirvana song when she goes into her own brain.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what song would have been a better choice?
What song?
Cranberries' Zombie.
Oh.
Because the chorus is what's in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the chorus comes in, basic like times out like right when she like pops back in.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really good.
Nice.
It's really good. Anyways, what are we talking about? Star Wars.
Star
All
Wars. So Anakin wins the race.
Now this is pod racing.
Obi-Wan, he doesn't say he's 15, he's too cool. Obi-Wan keeps Padme away from Maul, and they get the thing, and they also, there's no midichlorians. We're keeping it vague. The Force is just like Obi-Wan mentioned it in episode 4. But what we can do is if we want to be like, oh, wow, Anakin's really strong in the Force. There was a trick in the EU, and I believe I mentioned this before, when in the Jedi Academy trilogy, when Kip Duran shows up. Luke learns of, like, if I can just, like, if I have your permission, I'm just going to, like, probe your mind real quick. And Luke just kind of, like, looks into his brain and, like, pushes on a little with the Force, like, pushes on a little wrinkle somewhere in the back and gets flung across the room.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, your Kip's really strong. Holy crap. I was not expecting to get knocked off my feet and through the back wall.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, something cool.
Because a Jedi should be able to know, like a Highlander knows another Highlander's around. They can just feel it.
Yeah.
So like a Jedi be like, I think, can I just, if I may, just kind of, whoa! And just like, okay, this kid's strong. Okay, you're coming with us. And so they go. Okay, so now, after Tatooine, Maul calls Palpatine. I was like, she's on her way. Excellent. My apprentice. I'll see you soon. Then they head to Coruscant. But here's the big difference. But a lot of the same stuff happens because we have to get to the no confidence vote.
Yeah.
Here's the bigger difference. This is the first time we're seeing Senator Palpatine.
Oh, okay.
It's shown as a reveal.
Sure.
Like, oh, Senator. Oh, Chris, Senator. Oh, he's from. What? Wow. Okay, didn't see that coming. That's nuts. Qui-Gon, Dooku meet back up because everyone's safe back on court. Well, the surviving senators are all meet back up. Dooku and Qui-Gon talk about their different experiences of what the heck just happened, and like Qui-Gon's, we learn more about Qui-Gon being like, this shouldn't have happened. We should have never even gotten to this point.
Yeah.
There's clearly something wrong with the system. But then they go talk to the council, and they're like, hey, we just ran into what we think of the Sith. We saw what just happened at this peace meeting. Like, it all went to pot. Like, everything's going wrong out there. We need to do something. But, of course, the council is like, you know what, we're gonna stay the course. We'll look for the Sith guy, but what's more important, we just kind of stay in the here and now, protect Padme from the thing, come up with a peaceful solution to all the stuff. And they're just like, all right, guys, something's behind. There's a Phantom Menace out there. Credits.
I mean, that's not a bad way of interjecting the title in. I mean, like,
there's something going on while Qui-Gon and Dooku were talking to the council.
You know how I think that line gets read? I think that's like Mace Windu just being like, you want us out there like waging full war to find some kind of Phantom Menace. And yeah, like they're using it as like a derogatory term, and it's like, no, there really is somebody out there. Yeah.
Obi-Wan just fought a guy.
Yeah.
So while they're having
Obi-Wan just killed a guy.
While they're talking to the council and kind of getting stonewalled, Obi-Wan...
I've been meaning to talk to you, Obi-Wan. You're going to want to lay low for a while.
Obi-Wan's showing Anakin around the temple. We're going to walk around the temple.
Hell yeah.
We're going to see a bunch of Padawans.
See what the cafeteria looks like?
Yes.
Yeah, man.
It's just everyone's just eating a bunch of giant pills. Yeah. There you go. That's a Bad Batch
Yeah,
reference for
man.
everybody.
Yeah,
How's
man.
that?
Yum,
How you like
yum.
that?
You got rectangles and circles? Oh, man. Next thing you're going to tell me you have squares.
So in this scene, as Anakin is showing Obi-Wan is showing Anakin around, we're going to see a bunch of very young younglings like we did in episode 2 right now. Pew, pew, pew. And in this scene, we're going to see like a 6-year-old-ish Ahsoka.
Oh, shit.
And we're also going to see a couple other young kids that are going to show up later on. Like, hell, I mean, if Cal could be in there. If Cal's about the right age, or maybe he's a little younger. But like, we're gonna see a couple kids that can show. Because remember, this is a unified theory of everything. So like, we're gonna see a couple kids. We're definitely seeing
but also
a child Ahsoka here.
But also maybe we see Anakin be really good with the kids. So when Anakin shows up to kill the younglings, it's like actually a really big portrayal of who he is as a human being.
Oh, I'm not having Anakin kill the kids when we get to episode 3.
But but the younglings, they gots to go.
But so the scene goes on, and
Keeping the younglings slain. I'm keeping it.
they're not. The kids aren't getting killed in
Kid 'em.
mine. Sorry about that.
Kid
We're
'em.
not killing kids.
I'm drawing a hard line.
Because here's, and I'm gonna show you why. This is we're in the scene, and this is when Obi-Wan and Anakin are talking about the Jedi code, and how this normally works is that the Jedi, people who live in Republic on Republic worlds, like if their child is suspected to be Force sensitive, they contact the Jedi. The Jedi go out and test them, and if they are found to be Force sensitive, they, with the parents' permission, like take the kid to the temple to train them to be Jedi. And Anakin's like, well, whatever. What happens to the parents? Like, the parents are fine. They live their lives. Like, well, do the kids ever go back? No, we're here, protecting the galaxy, doing all this stuff. And Anakin's like, remember, he's like 15, so like he's got opinions about and stuff. He's just like, this is a lot like slavery.
Oh, okay.
What do you? And Obi-Wan's like, well, these kids can go home at any time. Like, we're not keeping them against their will. But Anakin's like when he's hearing about the code and stuff, he's like, this something seriously? What about And so when eventually when Anakin goes to talk to the council to test him, they're also like, this kid's crazy power. This teenager's crazy powerful.
Yeah, he's too old now.
But he's too old. And they because he passes all the tests, he blows through the test. He's like S ranking, like, oh my god, you're amazing. But like, oh, you're just like, but I sense fear in you. It's like you are fear about losing your mother. And he's like, I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, what kid wouldn't fear losing their mom?
I don't think that's unreasonable.
Yeah, exactly. He's old enough to talk back now. Like, I don't see why that's a problem. Like, yeah, I fear losing my mom, but that doesn't mean I don't want to help people.
Yeah.
Like, you guys seem to be like, out there helping. Like
Just because I'm afraid doesn't mean I'm a bad person.
Yes, that's exactly what he says. Yoda does the line. He's just gonna say that line. Fear leads to hate, hate leads to fear, blah blah. And fear leads to suffering.
But I think there's another side to it. It's like there is no courage without fear.
This is what Anakin says.
Yeah,
because he's old enough to but wait a second. Like, sure, but at the same time, yeah, I can overcome that. I want to help. I want to go around the galaxy and do right. You guys, the famous Jedi who protect and save people.
Yeah.
I would love to help out.
Absolutely.
Even though he's super afraid. Like, okay, but no, NBD. But they're like, you know what? We're not gonna touch this right now. We'll debate about it. Meanwhile, Amidala is dealing with Palpatine. The same basic stuff happens of like, hey, and again, we're going to see some of that rot in the Republic of like, hey, there are senators out there that just don't care. They're here for power. They're not going to, and Palpatine can set this up because Palpatine has a point. He's going to prove it again.
Yeah.
So they go to the Senate floor, and Amidala's like, hey, Naboo is under attack. My people are dying. And then Bail Organa comes out. It's like, we were attacked by the Trade Federation. And then Bail Organa comes out. It's like, I was a part of the peace negotiations. And, like, that is true. People on Naboo are dying. But at the same time, like, a Nubian shot first.
Yeah.
And they did. So, like, Bail is not lying.
Yeah.
But he is accidentally playing part of the game.
But but now, like, you guys shot first. Like, we're arguing in the Senate, like, what a reasonable response is.
Yes.
But this is not completely unwarranted.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, do I think that they've overextended
Absolutely.
their response? Of course. But that's,
Mm-hmm.
now we've gotten to the nitty-gritty of Republic and how it doesn't.
And everything grinds to a halt.
And she's like, you're not there. You don't know what's...
People are dying. Hell, they can even show footage.
Yeah.
Remember they showed footage in with Bad Batch. I think there was footage. Oh yeah, of Camino. They showed footage of Camino being blown up, and like, look what happened to Camino. And they're like, "How are we gonna do, right?" I mean, they can show people suffering and dying on Naboo, and they're just like, well, maybe. But you got the Trade Federation's like, no, this is fake. Blah 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 blah. It's like, you guys attacked us. Blah blah blah. And Valorum's like, truly now, like, the only way to get to this, to move the bureaucracy forward, is we have to do a whole delegation of like a fact-finding mission and figure stuff out. And I was like, people are dying right now. We do not have time. And then finally, Amidala agrees with Palpatine's like, yeah, okay, let's do it. So then Palpatine calls for a vote of no confidence because Queen Amidala, it's not a senator.
No,
she can't
senator.
do that.
Well, and
but
that's
a senator
why,
could.
and
but
that's
she
why
can't.
it was always confusing that Palpatine was the senator from Naboo, because I was like, well, then who is Queen Amidala? How does that work?
Yes. So Palpatine calls for a vote no confidence. They'll figure it out. Bail Organa's like put his name gets thrown out or whatever. But so everyone's like, well, we can't stay here. She's going back to save everybody on Naboo. And because Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and Dooku are just like, we need to be helping these people.
Yeah.
And the council's like, no, we're not there to fight a war, but you can't protect Padme. She's a head of state, and you can do that, but you can't fight a war. And so Dooku's like about to go with them, and you're like, no, we have a different mission for you. We need you to do something else. This is just Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. Okay. So everyone heads back to Naboo. Act 3 now is mostly the same, but here's the main difference. There are no Gungans. We don't need them. There's no 4-way battle. It's just a 3-way battle.
Yeah.
The first step in that battle is freeing out the resistance
Yes.
on the planet. And so we see the Jedi with Anakin and Padme free a bunch of resistance so they can get back in the city. And now, right, I was like, oh, we got to get all the tanks off the street and stuff like that. It's like, no, we're inside most of the time. We're sneaking around. We don't.
Yeah.
You guys just do it. Some attacks from outside the city, just kind of like slash and burn stuff. Just attack and run. Get out of there. Just draw their attention away. We're going to attack the palace. And also, we got to take out the control ship, which is now they're like a part of like multiple ships. It's not just one.
Yeah.
There's a couple there. So they get the people out of the resistance camp or the camp that they were held at. They get them back. They go to the flight deck. They get everyone to the ships. Darth Maul shows up, and then we see escape with both blades come out. That's the sound effects. So the Jedi ignite their lightsaber.
Snap, snap, hiss.
Yeah.
Snap, hiss, snap, hiss. Snap, hiss. Snap, hiss.
So they're fighting. Anakin jumps into a ship to stay out of the way, but he's 15. He's like, wait a second. And R2, of course, can be with him. He's like, wait a second. I can actually boop. This is not like, I don't know what's going on anymore. No.
like, ooh.
He's 15.
Ooh, let's go hunt some rabbit. Woo!
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Active choice.
Let it rip.
I'm going to go boop. And he goes off to help the fighters. Anakin being 15, he knows what he's doing. He's like, oh, this actually, I got this. Boop, boop, boop. Like, this is pretty much just like pod racing. Hang on, R2. And just like more confidence. You can see him getting better and better as he's flying. I was like, I don't think the ship, he can figure it out like, oh, the core is probably in the, that's just like the canyon I flew through earlier in the movie. Hang on, R2. Flies in, does the cool stuff, and just does a trench run. Because we saw him do it earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
Set up. Payoff. This time,
Hell yeah.
blasters. He blows up the ship. He's like, yeah, it was awesome. Get out of here, R2. Woo! No, this is cool, blah, blah, blah. No, he's a competent 15-year-old pilot. He's very good at this.
Yeah.
He blows up the ship. Everyone's amazed. The fight happens. Padme, of course, she can do the bait and switch again. Gets to the Viceroys. That whole thing can happen again.
I like the idea, and this is clearly coming in your fix, but I want to put it in mine that R2D2 starts as Padme's droid, but R2D2 really likes Anakin, and as much as like when someone's dog really likes you, they have a way of like liking you more.
Yeah.
Like she'd been like, well, R2 used to be my droid, and he's like, it's mine now. Like we're buddies. She's like, all
right, you can stay.
Yeah, it's like part of their little love story.
So now focusing on Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Maul fighting. So a lot of the same stuff can happen, but this time all of them get to that final little pit room together.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan doesn't get knocked away.
Sure.
He can get knocked away, but he can use force speed to get back up there in time before the ray shield closes. So all three of them are in the room at the same time. So it's still a 2-on-1 in the room.
Okay.
At a certain point, Maul's able to separate them, and he overpowers Obi-Wan, and he's about to kill him until Qui-Gon kind of jumps in the way, force pushes Obi-Wan past the ray shield as it's just about to close, and in doing so, he gets injured. He's a little, tap in the side or something like that.
Okay.
So-
Obi-Wan or
I'm sorry. Obi-Wan gets pushed back. Qui-Gon gets tapped in the side, so
I
he's
see.
injured. Now, injured, Maul and Qui-Gon fight again, but because he's injured, he just eventually gets overpowered, and Maul kills him, while Obi-Wan's trapped behind the ray shield that Qui-Gon pushed him past to save him.
yes.
So now Obi-Wan comes through full of rage and anger, and like, I'm super badass and awesome, and boop, 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 and can also just force pull Qui-Gon's hilt when Maul isn't looking to kill him. Wait, he doesn't kill him. He cuts off his leg, just a single leg, and knocks him down the pit.
Okay.
Okay. Oh no, Qui-Gon, you're dying. Oh no, so you gotta make sure the Council trains Anakin. There's no By the way, there's no prophecy. No one's talking. He's just a powerful kid. Figure that stuff out.
Something can be important without being a prophecy.
Yes.
I forgot that they set up that Anakin doesn't have a dad.
Anakin can have a dad.
He's like the Force is his dad. That's so stupid. It's so
if that was really important, if that was really truly an important thing, it would have been. It should have been.
And I was like, this is what you bring back up in the sequels.
Yeah.
That like
They should have done way more with it if that was more actually
bruh.
important.
Yeah. No, it's not it. It's not it.
He's not a child of destiny.
No.
So Maul's defeated. Naboo's saved. Everyone's Anakin and Padme are like, "Oh, you saved the planet! Fantastic! Thank you so much." Everyone's happy. The Senator Palpatine shows back up. The council's there. Obi-Wan gets his knighthood.
Yeah.
Everything's great. They burn Qui-Gon's body. But we're not done yet, because the time we saved for the Gungans fighting, or not fighting in this movie, we're gonna go back to Coruscant,
Okay.
and we're gonna do Episode 5 of Tales of the Jedi in live action.
Oh. Or do all the Dooku stuff
Yeah.
with Yaddle.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Qui-Gon comes back, finds out Qui-Gon was killed, and we meet Yaddle earlier in the council scenes.
Okay.
So we can see Dooku and Yaddle they know each other. They
Yeah.
are work colleagues. They hold each other in higher esteem.
Yeah.
They have a difference of opinion, but like they're both like friendly with each other.
Yeah.
And so Yaddle is there to try to comfort Dooku, and he's just like, shouldn't have happened. This shouldn't have happened. This shouldn't have happened. He was my Padawan. He was one of the good ones.
Yeah.
I've told you over and over again.
This is
you and the
Jedi
council.
oversight, like textbook. This is textbook. He got killed by something that he was here trying to warn you about, and you didn't listen to.
You didn't listen to him. You didn't listen to me.
It's the last straw.
How many times did I have to tell you guys? So yeah, but of course, in that coded language. But Yaddle's like, something's wrong. Something's wrong with
Yeah.
Dooku. Dooku goes off, and so but as Dooku leaves the temple, we cut over to Palpatine, just chilling in a place.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, one-legged Maul walks up. I was like, Master, I'm sorry, I was defeated, blah, blah, blah. And, just kind of like repents and like, I'm really sorry. And Dooku's like, I'm sorry. Palpatine's like, you did exactly what I needed you to do. I don't need you anymore. And Maul's like, because he's like on my crutch. What? Tries to take out his, saber staff. It doesn't work because he just takes it from him and cuts his other leg off and just throws him out a window. Just gets rid of him. Now, Maul's not dead, but he doesn't have any legs. And he was just tossed out like the trash.
You ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Maul.
So right after Maul gets tossed out the window and Palpatine like just kind of brushes himself off a little bit, being like, "Oh crap," because this is the first time really like seeing like Sidious,
Yeah.
Palpatine and Sidious being the same thing. Just after we see that, Dooku walks in, and this is the reveal of Dooku was working with Palpatine the whole time.
Yeah.
And we hear language, and maybe this is slightly different than what Filoni wrote. It was like they failed the test. This should have never happened.
Or Dooku's finally like, I'm ready. Like, I understand your offer now, and I think I'm ready to accept it.
We knew this shouldn't have happened, but we knew this is unfortunate that they were going to go down this path. The Jedi are just too set in their ways. This whole thing could have been avoided. But yeah, you were right, and we need to change. Yaddle shows up, tries to get through to Dooku. It doesn't work. It's that fight.
Try to get through Ku.
Yeah. Dooku kills her. It's really sad, and then Dooku turns to Palpatine. And he's like, "Well, you know what you need to do next." It's like, "Yeah, I'm off to Kamino to get us an army." And that sets up episode 2.
Yeah.
We got the bad guy for 2. We got the clone army.
Yeah, it's actually clear what happens in Clone Wars. It's actually clear what happens.
Yep.
We're not just like talking about a character the whole time that we don't meet until the 3rd act. Right? That stupid little motorcycle.
Pew, pew.
Yeah, it looks so stupid.
Hang on. Pew, pew.
Count Dooku could have been so much cooler.
He should have been
So cool.
much cooler. Because he's got a.
Right.
Dooku's not wrong. He's right. He has a point about all the things.
Yeah.
And they didn't get to it until what, 15 years after the last movie was
in a
made?
cartoon.
In a cartoon that only lasted, I think, a total of
20 minutes.
Yeah, maybe
It was like 20 minutes.
30 minutes.
How
total
dare you?
Between the 3 of them.
How dare you? How dare you? How I didn't fully understand the Clone Wars until so much later.
Yeah.
And and that's after them doing a major motion picture about it. I still didn't understand it. Oh boy.
Oh boy, indeed.
Well, I think we fixed it. My man.
We did fix it.
This is our longest episode to date.
Yes, it is. I had a feeling it was gonna be. Because here's the thing, guys. When we eventually get to episode 2, our jumping off points are gonna be
the same.
We're gonna be going from what we set up here.
Yeah.
So we are doing the full trilogy off of these stories we just did.
Yep.
So.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, I think we did it, my man.
We did do it.
Whew. It's getting hot in here. Let's land this plane.
Yeah. It's getting hot.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening. We love making this show. 50 episodes. That's incredible.
We did a good
That's
job.
so nuts.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this wherever you catch your podcasts, if you wouldn't mind leaving us a quick review, maybe leaving us 5 stars. I love reading the little reviews. They make me so happy. I guess someone's offering us Disney World tickets in there somewhere. Send us a DM on Discord. We'd love to. I want to go to Disney World. You don't, but I do. You're gonna go, and you're gonna. Yes. You've never been. It's time
Disney
to go.
World?
Yeah.
Yeah, in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to all three of this. The things.
Yeah, well, you're gonna go.
Magic
And you're gonna have a
Kingdom
lovely
and
time.
MGM
You're gonna
and
take
Epcot.
Amanda, and she's gonna be so thrilled.
Would she be thrilled?
Yes,
Let's go to Adventureland and it'll be fine.
that's in California, dude.
Oh, damn it!
Oh, you can go to California.
No,
if
we'll
you
go to
wanna
California. I want to go to the Adventureland.
Ugh. All right.
Go
All right.
Adventureland.
Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, hit that bell, do that YouTube that you do so well. Guacamole's extra. You podcast listening weirdos. Yeah. We love making the show. Thank you guys so much for 50 episodes. Here's to 50 more.
Yeah.
We will see you guys next week. And as we end every episode, heartbreak feels good in a place like this.
It's the hiss that you don't see. You hear it, but you don't see it coming. You don't see it until it's sticking out your chest.
Man,
Oh,
fuck you for that.
oh,
I'm so mad.
oh,
All right.
oh.
We'll see you guys next week. Bye.